You know that feeling. A potentially huge opportunity pops up, but figuring out the details feels like, well, a bit of a slog.
Yeah, like trying to read the fine print in the dark.
Exactly. So today, we're hoping to shine a light, maybe offer you a bit of a shortcut. We're diving deep into a really interesting prospect up in Canada.
Mm-hmm. We've been digging through the official government info, community reports, all that stuff, to pull out the essentials for you. It's about a specific region with, honestly, a lot going for it.
And that region is Sudbury, Ontario. We're talking as of right now, May 2025. And the focus, it's their immigration pilot programs, specifically two of them. The Rural Community Immigration Pilot, that's the RCIP.
Right.
And the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot, or FCIP.
And our goal here is pretty straightforward. We want to give you the core information, the need-to-know stuff, so you can figure out if maybe moving to Sudbury through one of these pilots makes sense for you. Think of it as your focused briefing.
So why do these programs even exist? I mean, what's the point?
Well, fundamentally, it's about connecting skilled people like you with communities that, frankly, need them. Some regions, particularly smaller towns or areas with significant French-speaking populations outside Quebec, have found it tough to attract enough workers.
Ah, so labor shortages.
Exactly. These pilots are a direct way to tackle those shortages, to bring in people with the skills those communities are looking for.
And Sudbury is interesting because
They're actually involved in both pilots, the RCIP and the FCIP.
okay, so that opens up more doors, potentially.
It really does. It creates a wider range of possible pathways if Sudbury is on your radar.
Good to know. And just to be clear, our info comes straight from the source, right? Canadian government, City of Greater Sudbury, Invest Sudbury, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Official channels.
Okay, great. Let's unpack the first one then. The Rural Community Immigration Pilot, RCIP. What's the main idea behind this one?
So the RCIP, its main goal is channeling skilled workers into smaller communities across Canada. These places often have, specific economic needs, and the pilot is designed to help them attract the talent to, well, thrive. For Sudbury, it's about making sure key local industries have the people they need.
Right. So if you're looking at Sudbury through the RCIP lens, what are the big federal requirements, the eligibility hurdles you need to clear?
Okay, number one, the absolute cornerstone, a job offer. It has to be full-time, non-seasonal, and from an employer in Sudbury who's been officially approved or designated for the RCIP program.
Okay, so no job offer, no go. That's the starting point.
That's the foundation. Without that genuine employment opportunity, you can't really proceed with this pilot.
Makes sense. You need that local connection. What's next on the checklist?
Next up is your work experience. The feds require you to have at least 1 year, that's 1,560 hours of paid work experience within the last 3 years. And crucially, that experience needs to relate directly to the job you've been offered in Sudbury.
Okay, related experience. But you mentioned it's not just about the hours, it's about the type of work, too. Something about tier categories.
Exactly. It gets a little specific here with the tier system that's training, education, experience, and responsibilities. It basically classifies jobs. So say your job offer in Sudbury is a Tier 0 or 1 think management or professional roles.
Okay, high skill.
Right. Your past year of work experience needs to be in Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. It shows you have that foundational skill level.
Got it. And for other tier levels?
Well, if the Sudbury job is Tier 2, like a technical job or a skilled trade, your experience should be in Tier 1, 2, 3, or 4. For a Tier 3 or 4 offer maybe other skilled trades or paraprofessional jobs, you need experience at Tier 2, 3, or 4.
Okay, still some flexibility there.
A little bit. But for Tier 5 jobs, often more manual roles, your past experience needs to be in the exact same 5-digit NOC code. That's the National Occupational Classification.
Ah, okay, so much more specific for Tier 5. It's really about matching your background to the Sudbury job's demands.
Precisely. It ensures a clear link.
Makes sense. What about language? Always a big one for Canada.
Absolutely. And under the RCIP, the language requirements are also tied to that tier level.
Okay, so it varies.
It does. For those higher skilled Tier 0 and 1 jobs, you need a minimum Canadian language benchmark score, CLB, of 6, or the French equivalent, NCLC 6.
That's we say 6, okay.
For Tier 2 and 3 jobs, it drops slightly to CLB or NCLC 5.
5.
And for Tier 4 and 5 positions, the minimum is CLB or NCLC 4. This can be in either English or French.
Okay, so a tiered approach there too. That seems logical, matching language needs to the job.
Exactly. Different jobs have different communication demands.
What else is on the federal list? Education must be in there somewhere.
It is. You need to show you've got a Canadian high school diploma or
Yep.
or the equivalent from another country. If it's a foreign credential, you need an educational credential assessment, an ECA report.
Right, I've heard of those.
And that ECA report needs to be pretty recent, less than 5 years old.
Okay. And money. Proof of funds. Usually part of the deal.
Usually, yes. You need to show you have enough settlement funds to support yourself and your family if they're coming with you when you first arrive. Unless you're already legally working in Canada with a valid permit, then you might be exempt from that.
Ah, good point. And I imagine you actually have to want to live in Sudbury.
Yes, definitely. You need to show a genuine intention to reside in the community. These pilots aren't just a backdoor to PR. They're about building the community, settling down, putting down roots.
Makes sense. So job offer, experience, language, education funds, intent to live there. Is there one last piece for the RCIP in Sudbury?
One more key piece, the community recommendation. You need to get an official recommendation from Sudbury's designated economic development organization. It's basically the community saying, yes, we think this person is a good fit and we need their skills.
Okay, the community stamp of approval. Now, you mentioned something really interesting earlier about international students potentially skipping the work experience part.
Yes, this is a potentially big deal. If you're an international student who graduated from a public post-secondary institution in Sudbury, you might not need that 1 year of work experience.
Oh, wow. Okay. Under what conditions?
There are specifics, of course.
Yeah.
You generally need to have finished a full-time program, got your credential degree, diploma, whatever, within the 18 months before you apply for the pilot, and you need to have actually lived in Sudbury for at least 16 of the 24 months before you graduated.
16 of the last 24 months. Okay.
It's a real incentive to retain talent that's already there, already somewhat integrated.
That makes a lot of sense. Keep the graduates you've already trained. Okay, great overview of the RCIP. Let's switch gears now to the other pilot, the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot, FCIP. What's the main driver for this one?
Well, the name gives a big clue. The FCIP is specifically aimed at attracting skilled workers to Francophone communities outside of Quebec, where French is a minority language. The goal is to boost the vitality, the demographic weight, the cultural strength of these French-speaking communities across Canada. For Sudbury, it's about strengthening their local Francophone population.
Got it. So what about the federal requirements for the FCIP in Sudbury? How do they stack up against the RCIP? Similar? Different?
There's definitely overlap, but also some key differences, particularly around language, as you might expect. Like the RCIP, you absolutely need that full-time, non-seasonal job offer from a designated employer.
Okay.
But here, the employer has to be specifically located within a designated Francophone minority community, which Sudbury is.
Right. And the work experience needed for FCIP. Same deal as RCIP.
Yes, pretty much the same rule there. At least that 1 year, 1,560 hours, paid work in the last 3 years related to the job offer, and that tier matching system we talked about, that applies here too.
Okay, so work experience is consistent. Now, language. This feels like where the big difference might be for the FCIP.
It really is.
Yeah.
For the FCIP, the requirement is a minimum CLB or NCLC score of 5, but it's level 5 in all 4 abilities: listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
All 4 skills at level 5, not tiered like the RCIP.
Exactly. It's a flat minimum of 5 across the board. And interestingly, this can be in either English or French.
Oh, either language. That's interesting for a Francophone pilot.
It is, but the idea is that the person needs sufficient language skills in one of the official languages to integrate well into the community, even if the primary goal is boosting the Francophone element. So, CLB and CLC 5 in all skills, English or French.
Okay, that's a crucial difference. What about education and settlement funds for the FCIP? Same as RCIP.
Yes, those requirements mirror the RCIP. You need that Canadian high school diploma or the equivalent foreign one with that recent ECA report, and you also need the proof of settlement funds.
And the intent to reside part, is it just Sudbury generally, or is there a Francophone focus there too?
For the FCIP, it's more specific. You need to show a genuine intention to live within the Francophone community of Sudbury. It ties directly back to the pilot's goal. It's not just about moving to the city, but actively choosing to be part of that linguistic community.
Got it. Focus on the Francophone community itself. And does the FCIP also require that community recommendation from Sudbury?
Yes, it does. That recommendation from Sudbury's economic development body is mandatory for the FCIP applicant as well.
Okay. And that potential break on work experience for international grads in Sudbury, does that apply to the FCIP too?
It does, yeah. The same conditions we discussed for RCIP apply. If you graduated from a public post-secondary institution in Sudbury, completed a full-time program, got your credential within 18 months, and lived there 16 of the last 24 months, you might be exempt from the work experience requirement for the FCIP as well.
Okay, good to know that applies across both. So we've looked at RCIP and FCIP individually. If someone's trying to decide between them or just understand the landscape, what are the absolute key differences and similarities they should grasp?
Okay, the biggest difference, fundamentally, is the focus and the language rules.
Right.
RCIP is broader, focused on the rural community aspect of Sudbury, with language needs that vary by job skill level, the KEER code.
Right.
FCIP is laser-focused on boosting the Francophone community within Sudbury and demands that minimum CLB and CLC5 across all 4 skills, though it can be in English or French.
Okay, that's clear. Rural focus with flexible language versus Francophone focus with a standard language minimum. What about the common ground? What's the same for both?
Lots of common ground. Both need that valid job offer from a designated Sudbury employer. Both require related work experience, though with that potential exemption for local grads we keep mentioning. Both need minimum education credentials, proof of settlement funds, that genuine intent to live in Sudbury, with the FCIP adding the Francophone community layer. And, critically, both need that community recommendation from Sudbury's economic development team.
So the core framework is quite similar, but the target audience and language piece are the big separators.
That's a good way to put it. The shared elements show they're both about bringing needed skills and encouraging long-term settlement in Sudbury.
Okay, so let's say someone thinks, okay, I might fit one of these. What does the application process generally look like for Sudbury?
Well, for both pilots, it follows a similar path. Step 1, absolutely non-negotiable. Get that valid job offer. Find an employer in Sudbury who's designated under the specific pilot RCIP or FCIP that you're targeting.
Nail down the job offer first. Got it. What's step 2?
Once you have the offer letter in hand, then you apply for the community recommendation. That application goes to the City of Greater Sudbury's Economic Development Division. They'll have their own process, their own criteria, to see if you align with what Sudbury is looking for.
Okay, apply to the city for their blessing, essentially.
Pretty much, and assuming you get that recommendation.
What then?
Then you move to step 3. The official permanent residence application. This is where you apply directly to the federal government, to IRCC Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. You submit all your forms, documents, the community recommendation, everything.
Okay, federal application is step 3. Now, these things can take time. Can you start working in Sudbury while waiting for the PR decision?
Yes, potentially.
Yeah.
Both pilots have an option for a work permit while the PR application is in process. Under the RCIP, it could be a work permit for up to 1 year.
Yeah.
Under the FCIP, interestingly, the potential work permit duration is longer, up to 2 years. So that's a nice little advantage for the FCIP pathway, letting you potentially get settled and working sooner for longer while you wait.
A 2-year work permit option? That's pretty significant. Now, we need to stress the timing again, don't we? Because this is crucial.
Absolutely critical. As we're talking in May 2025, the official word was that both these pilots in Sudbury were, very close, but not yet accepting applications. They were finalizing things. The plan was to launch later in the spring of 2025. So anyone listening, you must check the official sources, the Government of Canada website, the Invest Sudbury website for the absolute latest status. Don't rely on old info. Check for the official launch announcement and intake details.
Okay, vital disclaimer there. So these pilots explain how someone might get to Sudbury. But let's zoom out a bit. Why Sudbury? Why are they doing this? What's the bigger picture?
Right. It's not happening in a vacuum. These pilots are really tied into Sudbury's own economic needs and, frankly, what it offers newcomers. The biggest driver is tackling labor shortages. Greater Sudbury, like many places, has real gaps in its workforce across different sectors.
So it's a very practical need.
Very practical. These shortages can hold back growth. So Sudbury is being proactive, trying to attract skilled people, especially for jobs where local employers just can't find enough qualified candidates. These federal pilots are a key tool in that strategy.
And they see immigration as part of the solution, part of their economic growth plan.
Definitely. It's seen as vital for future development. And we mentioned that LMIA exempt work permit possibility earlier.
Yeah, why is that such a big deal?
Well, getting a labor market impact assessment, an LMIA, can be a real headache for employers. It's paperwork, justification, delays. Bypassing that through these pilots makes it much faster and easier for Sudbury businesses to hire the international talent they need.
So it streamlines things for everyone involved.
Exactly. Easier for the employer, faster for the potential immigrant to start working.
And the goal isn't just filling jobs temporarily, right? It's about long-term residence.
That's the clear message. They want people who plan to stay, build a life, raise a family, become part of the Sudbury community for the long haul. It's about sustainable growth, not just a quick fix.
And Sudbury seems like it already has a diverse base to build on.
It really does. We
Yeah.
saw that stat from 2016, 165 different ethnic origins reported in Greater Sudbury. That's pretty diverse.
Yeah.
And almost 1 in 5 people there were either born outside Canada or had parents born outside Canada. So there's a history of immigration and integration already baked in.
And this new push through the pilots, it's not just about culture, it's directly linked to future job needs, too.
Directly. Healthy immigration helps fill jobs projected to grow things like crane operators, drillers, and blasters for the mining sector, obviously important there, but also healthcare professionals, doctors, dentists, vets. These are critical roles, and immigration helps meet that demand.
And wasn't there something about retirements creating a big gap?
Yes, a huge demographic shift is coming. They estimate something like 36,000 people in the Greater Sudbury workforce are set to retire in the next 15 years or so.
36,000.
Yeah. And the number of younger local people expected to be ready to replace them is only around 25,000.
Oof, that's an 11,000 person gap.
Exactly. So immigration isn't just helpful, it's becoming strategically essential to maintain their workforce.
Okay, so the economic drivers are clear. But what about life in Sudbury? If you move there, what's it like?
Well, Sudbury offers this really interesting blend. It's got city amenities, but incredible access to nature. It's called the City of Lakes. Over 330 lakes right within the city limits.
330 lakes. Seriously.
Seriously. So outdoor activities, boating, fishing, swimming, hiking, it's all right there. Literally minutes away for many people.
So you get urban stuff and the great outdoors easily.
Pretty much. Shopping, restaurants, entertainment, but maybe a bit more of a relaxed pace and that amazing natural environment. Plus, a big factor is affordability.
Cost of living, how does it compare?
Significantly better than many larger Ontario cities. The average price for a single-family home in 2024 was around $487,000. Compared to Toronto or even Ottawa, that makes a huge difference to your budget and lifestyle.
Yeah, under $500,000 for an average house is definitely appealing these days. What about the job market itself? Is it all mining?
No, it's much more diverse now. Mining is still very important, a cornerstone, but healthcare is huge, education is a major employer, and there's a growing tech sector too. So opportunities across quite a few fields.
Okay, diversified economy. And if you do move, what kind of help is there to get settled? It's a big adjustment.
There's quite a bit of support, actually. The main coordinating body is the Sudbury Local Immigration Partnership, or SLIP.
Oh, yeah, IP. Okay.
They offer tons of resources, help finding language classes, info on schools, healthcare, community services, programs to help people connect and feel welcome. They seem really focused on making integration smoother.
Sounds like a good support system.
Well,
And education for kids or further studies?
yeah, Sudbury's a big educational center for that part of Ontario. You've got Laurentian University, Cambrian College, and College Boreal for French language post-secondary. So good options for families and for lifelong learning.
Okay. And getting there. Is it way out in the middle of nowhere?
Not really. It's about a 4-hour drive north of Toronto, mostly good highway, maybe 5.5 hours from Ottawa. And you can fly to, that's a short flight, like 50 minutes from Toronto Pearson. So quite accessible.
Okay, 4 hours from Toronto isn't bad at all. And if someone's ready to start looking for those Sudbury jobs right now, where should they look?
The usual online places are a good start. LinkedIn, the government's job bank, Indeed. Also, check out the dedicated Move to Sudbury website, and the Greater Sudbury Chamber of Commerce site sometimes has listings too.
Right.
And keep in mind, as these pilots fully launch, Sudbury will likely clarify which occupations are the highest priority for them. So watching for updates from Invest Sudbury on that is key.
Okay, makes sense. So let's try and wrap this up. For someone listening who's intrigued by Sudbury and these pilots, what are the main takeaways?
I think the key things are these two pilots, RCIP and FCIP, we're gearing up in May 2025 to offer real pathways to permanent residency in Canada for skilled workers needed in Sudbury. They cater to slightly different priorities, one more rural general skills, the other Francophone community focused.
Right.
But both are serious strategic programs designed to fill labor gaps in a welcoming Northern Ontario city that seems to offer a pretty good quality of life.
And the absolute most important next step, if you're serious.
Go straight to the source. Check the Invest Sudbury website and the immigration sections of Canada.ca constantly. That's where the official launch info, the final eligibility details, and the application instructions will appear first. Get your information directly from them.
Excellent advice. So as you think about your own future, your career, your life, could you see yourself building that next chapter in a place like Sudbury, a community mixing opportunity with that northern welcome? Definitely something worth exploring further.